Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into a massive, frankly mind-blowing shift happening in tech right now. We are moving away from the era of AI just being this chatty assistant you text on your phone, you know what I mean? Instead, we're stepping into a world where AI acts as a fully autonomous coworker. This isn't just about typing out paragraphs a little faster. It's a complete top-to-bottom paradigm shift in how work actually gets done. So, let's jump right in. To really grasp the scale of this shift, get a load of this incredible insider account. Somebody tasked an AI to build and train a really complex graph neural network. And here's the kicker. They didn't hold its hand step by step. They literally just gave it an end goal and went to sleep. The AI autonomously ground away for 16 hours straight. It tested things, it failed, it corrected its own mistakes, and eventually it succeeded. All on its own. Which brings us to the big million-dollar question, right? How exactly did we make this massive leap? Like, how did we go from typing a prompt and waiting a few seconds for some text to suddenly deploying autonomous digital workers that can just grind away at complex software engineering for 16 hours without us doing a single thing? Well, here is how we're going to break it all down today. First, we'll look at the GPT 5.6 Super app, then the major shift from prompts to loops. After that, we'll explore agents actually using your computer, followed by how to build the AI flywheel, and finally, what it means to live in the age of the tinkerer. All right, Section 1, the GPT 5.6 Super app. So the new generation of AI isn't just one single model anymore. It's a whole family, and they're built for completely different tasks. You've got Sol, which is your highest tier frontier model for heavy-duty reasoning. It's expensive, but it's brilliant. Then there's Terra, giving you this really solid high to medium intelligence balance. And finally, Luna, which is optimized for maximum speed and the absolute lowest cost. Now Terra is quickly becoming the absolute go-to for these continuous automated workflows. Why? Because it offers the absolute best trade-off between brain power and budget when you need an AI just running in the background for hours at a time. And all of these models are living inside one unified super app that basically has two distinct tiers. On one side, you have work mode. This is your engine for everyday knowledge work, analyzing PDFs, throwing together slide decks, crunching spreadsheets. But let's say you need to actually build software. You just seamlessly flip over to Codex mode. This gives the AI an entire sandbox to write code, squash bugs, and directly tap into developer ecosystems. It's the whole shebang in one workspace, adapting to exactly what you need in the moment. Moving right along to Section 2, from prompts to loops. This is absolutely huge. We are officially moving past the days of prompt engineering and diving headfirst into the era of loop engineering. What does that actually mean? Well, it means you set a persistent, objective goal for the AI. You are absolutely not giving it step-by-step instructions on how to do the task. Instead, you just let it iteratively test, validate, and correct its own work over and over in a loop until that final goal is independently met. Think about it like this. Prompt engineering required you to basically hold the AI's hand. If it messed up, it just stopped and waited for you to help it out. Loop engineering, on the other hand, gives the AI a sandbox and an objective. Just like that 16-hour neural network story from earlier, or maybe building an app to scrape Instagram DMs. You, the user, just define the finish line. The AI loops through all the errors and figures out the solutions completely on its own until it crosses that line. And here is where it gets crazy, because you aren't just limited to one of these looping agents. Enter the concept of parallel agents, which are essentially your own personal digital minions. Instead of waiting around for one task to finish, you can delegate simultaneous tasks to, say, 10 or 12 sub-agents all at once. You could have one agent researching a topic, while 4 others are generating totally different visual design concepts, while yet another one is already writing the code. You stop being a heavy-lifting operator and instantly transform into a manager of a highly efficient digital team. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, agents using your computer. Okay, so we are talking about AI models that are actually capable of looking at your computer screen. They can visually navigate the graphical user interface, physically move your mouse, and click around inside native applications exactly like a human would. They don't just exist somewhere in the background running code anymore. They are actually operating the computer itself. And because the agent can actually see and click, it solves some massive, everyday, real-world pain points. I mean, it can navigate clunky, non-API legacy software visually. It can test out websites and physically click around to find UI bugs. It can even file your corporate expense reports on platforms like Navan. Basically, you just record yourself doing a task once, and the visual agent learns the workflow and handles all your receipts automatically from then on out. It literally removes the friction of those mundane daily chores. Now consider this number for a second. $1 million. That actually represents a single developer's monthly token spend for running parallel agents. Let that sink in. That $1 million spend introduces this wild new concept, the 100x engineer. We always used to talk about the mythical 10x engineer, but now we're seeing individuals spending massive amounts of capital on AI compute rather than paying human salaries. By managing thousands of digital coworkers simultaneously, a single person who has all the right context can literally execute the workload of an entire engineering department. It's a total ground-up reimagining of how we scale teams and allocate capital.
All right, Section 4, Building the AI Flywheel.
So if anyone can just spin up an MVP using AI, how on earth do you actually build a defensible startup these days? Well, it all comes down to this AI flywheel. Step 1, you build the initial product, and honestly, it might only be slightly better than the competition. But step 2 is where you actually win. Aggressive go-to-market. You absolutely must get the product into users' hands to trigger step 3, which is gathering real data and evaluations. That human feedback is the critical fuel for step 4, which is improving your specific agent. By the time somebody tries to clone your step 1 MVP, you are already 3 cycles deep into refining a highly specialized tool. And this completely destroys that common internet insult you always hear, oh, it's just a wrapper. Successful vertical AI companies, take the ones specializing in legal AI, for example, they're not just wrapping an API. They are encoding deep, intense domain obsession into an entire system. They sit down with actual lawyers, they figure out their exact granular pain points, and they build custom micro agents to solve them. That deep, specialized knowledge baked directly into the software, that is what actually drives massive revenue and makes a product truly defensible. And finally, Section 5, the age of the tinkerer. There's a brilliant mental framework out there for deciding what you should actually automate right now, and it's the concept of one-way versus two-way doors. Two-way doors are reversible decisions. If an agent writes some bad code or drafts a really cringy marketing ad, you can just delete it and try again, right? You should absolutely use agents heavily for those tasks. But one-way doors, things like pitching your business to venture capitalists or building really deep personal relationships with customers, those are highly personal and incredibly hard to reverse. For those, you absolutely must keep a human firmly in the loop. You also need to anticipate the future. As the saying goes, skate to where the puck is going. Look at what AI is actually bad at today, things like complex spatial reasoning or integrating with physical robotics, and start building products for that specific space. Why? Because in 6 months to a year, when these models inevitably unlock those exact capabilities, you will already have the market understanding and the distribution ready to go. You'll be miles ahead. But above all else, the ultimate meta skill for this completely new era is tinkering. It is simply the willingness to just try things out. Spend 10 minutes setting up a parallel agent to scrape some data. If it fails, whatever, you lost 10 minutes. But if it succeeds, you just saved yourself hundreds of hours a year. Cultivating a mindset where you are not afraid to constantly test new features in the Codex app, to fail fast, and to experiment daily, that is the single greatest competitive advantage you can possibly have right now. We've covered the evolution of super apps, the incredible power of loop engineering, and agents that can literally take over your computer mouse. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought from today's explainer. In the very near future, are you going to be the one doing the manual, repetitive work? Or will you be the tinkerer managing 1,000 digital workers? The tools are literally available right now. It's time to start building. Thanks for watching and keep experimenting.